Okay, so just in case you're confused with the whole Final Fantasy timeline order, here's how it goes. In North America, you have Final Fantasy 1, 2, and 3, and then beyond that it's 6, or 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and then you got all the sequels. However, really all you need to know is for the Final Fantasy games 2 through 6 is really the games that were really the ones. See, in Final Fantasy, Final Fantasy, when you look at the games, in America, 2 and 3 on the Super Nintendo were really 4 and 6. 2 on the Super Nintendo was 4. If you play as a young warrior by the name of Cecil as your main character with Kain, then that's Final Fantasy 4. And the one that's on the 3 on the Super Nintendo is the one with Kefka and Terra. So your main characters would be, well, with Locke included, that would be Final Fantasy 6. And then the real Final Fantasy 2, 3, and 5 were never localized outside of Japan, because what happened was, it was because of time constraints and because of text issues. Nowadays this wouldn't be a problem because, infinite text, at least on a disc anyways. Good luck fitting all that into a game. But, back in the day the cartridges could only take so much space, and they just so happened to have ran out of space for some of them. At least that was one of the major story reasons. But Final Fantasy 2, 3, and 5 were localized, and every Final Fantasy game was remade somehow. Final Fantasy 1, 2, and 3, you could play them on like 4 different consoles, even handhelds included, 4, 5, and 6 as well. And you would be surprised that those games were actually, okay, so for example, for the first 6 games, I would recommend playing Final Fantasy 1, 2, and 4 on the PlayStation Portable. And, well, the third one's on the PlayStation Portable too, but it's in Japanese, and I believe there's like a fan-made translated patch for it in English. And 5 and 6, you can play that. The best version would probably be the Game Boy Advance one, or the iOS. Definitely the iOS version if you could get your hands on it somehow, because I'm surprised they didn't release it on the PSP, but I'm not sure about the PS Vita. I'd have to look that up. Probably not, though. And that would pretty much do it, because Final Fantasy, while the games weren't localized, at least not until many years later. That's what Squaresoft wanted, or Square Enix now, but that's just to kind of clarify just a little bit, just in case you're confused.